This is how we keep going, Natasha. And you're very good. You're very good at enduring, you know. I want to learn something from you. How do you stay so calm inside?
What?
How do you stay so calm inside?
I don't know.
Huh? Yeah, I think you have a secret inside.
I really don't.
Try and think. You stay very calm, you know. I noticed you during the micro summit while things were going around you. Yeah? Do you see that as one of your strengths? Ooh, wow. Wow. My tea just arrived. Thanks. Yeah. I'm having tea, Tasha. I've been having a headache, you know. No? What do you think? What do you think of the BB apprentice so far? It's working?
Yeah,
I think so too, you know. I thought it was going to be something that, you know, like other workplaces, but I realized it's not. It's very different, right? It's really working from the heart. I changed all my plans last night after our sessions the last 2 days. I realized I initially had an idea that it will be work training, it will be getting all of you ready for the workplace, like how we know it. But I realized Bilberries Blue is not that kind of place. Huh? It's really working from the heart, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you remember yesterday when Washima and Bernie basically said that we should, what did they say? Reflect from our inner core. What do you think is that?
Finding your own strength, perhaps.
Finding your own strength.
Finding your own strength.
Finding your own strength. Do you think it's strength that defines us? Huh?
I think so.
Huh? What do you think is your strength? I'm eating. I see my peanut butter, and no, that's banana. A whole lot of peanut butter. I need energy. That's my secret. Peanut butter and banana. What do you think is your strength?
I don't know. I guess I am good at doing art, working with children and all that.
I saw your art comes very intuitive for you. Which means you see it so straight away. That's working with children because you like that. And I think you're also protecting them. You're caring for them and protecting them. I had a thought about your third piece of work last night. Suddenly I cannot remember. I need to eat my peanut butter. I think your expression, writing directly from your heart, I think you're very strong in your articulation, you know. I can speak really well. I think your grasp of language is really strong. And your essays, your voice is very authentic. It's coming straight from the heart. You don't have mask. when there's something that calls you to really speak up, you won't back down. Is that you? Huh? You won't back down one, right? You will like just, huh? What do you think? Actually, the butterfly camp, I thought you really loved sew as well.
Butterfly camp?
I thought you really loved to sew.
So,
You made your costume.
I
think you like to make things.
Yeah.
Draw, make things, create, right? Yeah. And you like to teach. How do you teach the children?
Physical lessons, I used to look after them. All the lessons are going on that now on Zoom. As I told Mr. Colin, I can't do anything much on Zoom.
Do you think you can still teach them online? No.
One of the teachers take the lessons.
What do you think? How do you think children learn?
No.
How do you think how do you think they're going to learn during COVID?
Zoom.
Then for example, now we are working together, right? It's working, isn't it? The Zoom. Because we've established a connection, right? Do you think if you're a teacher with young children, how are you going to teach them over Zoom?
Normally, one of the main teachers take the Zoom. My auntie joining.
Say if you are a lighthouse keeper and you're going to run some teaching lessons, for example. How do you think you will go about doing it? Think. Oh, Auntie Bunny's coming in. We're going to have some very heavy philosophy, heavy inner core work today. I'm almost signing you with trepidation, Bunny. I think she didn't hear that. Oh, we're going to be like polished again, Natasha. All the outside stuff. Dissolve it. I think we're going to be shining our lighthouse light from our core today. Bunny, we can't see you. I think it's quite terrible when I'm eating over the screen. Where's Bunny? I think a lot of times, Natasha, we follow a program and then we forget to relate to each other, you know. Imagine you sit in the place for such a long time, you forget to relate to each other. I think for Bilberries Blue, we are always relating to each other. Don't you think? That's why we're always having fun, right?
Yeah.
It's work, but it's like a party every time. Where is Bunny? Bunny!
Yeah, I can only stay on for half an hour.
Okay. We shall zap you for half an hour. You're looking so pretty today. Where are you going?
No, it's just that
You're like,
nothing.
oh,
It's
made
not,
up.
it's not so hot.
Oh,
Hong Kong today is a bit cooler.
I see. So nice. It's a public holiday here.
Mm.
But
Who is coming?
I don't know. Washima said she'll come, but if she doesn't, then I've also sent out the invites to the cohort one used towards. But I think they're not getting what this thing is about. But never mind.
But Ajin is coming.
I don't know. Yeah, let's just continue. I've already started recording, and you know where we stopped yesterday was really hitting home. Like the whole program, the whole lighthouse thing must be completely different. You know, it's not our old work training thinking. Our temptation is go and repeat, right? What we had experienced, right? When we were being prepared for work and all that. I think that's where we cannot. I think that I reread Hong Kai's email. He's the National Library Board intern.
So this Ryan Wong, what is his role?
He does IT. He has his own business. So he in Malaysia. So he knows how to set up like he set it up for the state of Perak before. So he knows how to set up the IT infrastructure and everything. But he has to kind of listen to what we need to do first rather than going right inside. And I think our way is to, if we can't get the funding, we really have to leverage all the freeware, you know. Yeah, and we still have to find a way to protect our own cybersecurity. It's a very, very big issue.
So right now it's all uploaded. That is only for us.
The YouTube is public already. So we've made a choice for it to be public. People have this idea that you put things public and then it become viral. Actually, nobody looks at it. So I see it more like and it's very, very long. It's not done in a way that it's to attract. It's not a branding and marketing kind of video, you know. It's really I see as our own library of learning resources, technical resources. It's just very, very organized here. And then people can go in and pull things out later on. I mean, you can download the video, cut it, you know, those kind of things can come.
So it's more for the file, if you may call it like that.
Yeah, it's our lecture series.
Yeah.
I think what we are building is a lecture series of dialogues. And many ideas, and I think this process being so transparent and open is very good. You know, so I think we just keep it like that, where the the youths have put in all their essays and everything. It's kept in Google Drive, so it's quite safe. We would have to, I think, by the time we reach a place where we feel that there is a significant body of work that has come together, we should publish it like either ebook or even straight into publication. Just get the ISBN number and start charging money for it. I think that will crystallize the sustainable entrepreneurism as well. So I think we've got about, now it's May, about a good 6 months of work. I think we can get our first publication out in July. Yeah, it's those kind of things not very difficult. It's just putting your mind to it. And of course, we have such great in-house writers and editors, right? So like Saif or even Sukwai, you haven't met, or Susie, you know, these three, whatever we do that is in writing,
so they will compile it, they will edit it already.
If they have the bandwidth, and it's all really down to whether we can get funding and be able to offer the honorarium or stipend, you know, for the work. So whatever work we have, I haven't executed it, right? I haven't done it because I think we need to get the funding first and then we do the work. I used to do a lot of the work, and then without the funding, and then it's just spread. We're just spread too thin. So now, the simplest is we record. I put it into the YouTube, and then now I started making the notes of our meeting really short, few points, you know. But everybody is starting to send in their reflections anyway. I think for the youth stewardship program, we were targeting 7 pedagogical documentation anyway. Yeah, so I guess the recording of the dialogues is one such documentation. Then the
essays,
the essays is another. Hopefully an artwork might emerge, you know. We won't know. So it'll be like this, or a real song, right?
So for the cohorts, when is our next session for the Thursday group?
Where's my calendar? Calendar keeps running away. Yeah. So May, June 17th, the 9th session.
The 9th session.
The 9th session is on creativity. I thought this couple of sessions on the strategy, on getting the multiple visioning, that's actually what we're doing.
These five Thursdays, or these 5 meetings.
Oh, the 5 this whole week, the emergencing, because I think it's shifted us, right? Like you say, you say go straight back into the inner core. Forget everything else, you know. Everything else can come later. Everything else can come later. We got to get back into the inner core. I think that was quite an insight yesterday.
Yeah, they call it inner core. They call it inner compass. They call it vital core.
What is it actually? Can you share again?
Your conscience.
Huh?
Your conscience, the right and wrong things. But you can't speak about conscience to people because people will get very offended. If they don't have any reference, that means their life is superficial. Because, for example, abortion. Example, if your inner core says, I have the right to my body, nobody can challenge you because that's your inner core. So it's very personal. If you say, people, this is being recorded, but it's just an example, right? For example, you say you believe there is such a thing as life in the womb. That's what you believe, right? Because how can a human being come out from a body? It cannot come out as an animal. It has to come out as a human being, right? But if your belief is, as long as it's not out, it's nothing. So I have the right to get rid of it because I believe it's just a blob. That's what I relate it to. If your inner core, you establish your inner core, you make your own beliefs. That's your inner core. So you act according to your inner core. This is a clear-cut example. If you think your inner core means I have my rights to my body, nobody else can have that right except me because I own my body. So I can mutilate my body, I can change it, I can do whatever I want with it. Because my inner core tells me my right to my body is my own. So I can do whatever I like with it.
Yeah, I saw some of this
in
art practices, you know, where they're mutilating their own body. I cannot understand it.
It's just an example. So when we are talking of this, for example, Natasha, the people from Dangkalan, their inner core is what they have inside, which is the truth. The inner core is the truth. If you want to be very, very simplistic about
their own truth or a universal truth?
Universal truth. Because, for example, you say respect is a universal truth. You have to respect every human being. That is your...
If not, humanity cannot stand, isn't it?
That's why we say we have dehumanized the world. That's why you say Black Lives Matter. That's why these people are coming back and claiming their rights, because they say inclusivity regardless of race, religion, gender, etc., etc. But you always bracket it according to your inner core. If your inner core means white supremacy, that's my inner core. So I don't care if the others. But it's very basic.
Wow, 2020 really uncovered all this stuff. Huh?
Yes, it was on its way, because the moment they take responsibility to no one and accountable to no one. Look, for example, the children. They say, "Mommy, whatever, but I have my freedom. I do whatever I like with my freedom." So the consequences, the negative consequences, are infinite.
Mm.
Because you have removed the truth.
There's no reference.
No reference. You make your own reference. You make your own reference. That's why it's relative. That's why when we are talking to them, we don't talk about reference points. We don't talk about law. We don't talk. It's inside. Natasha knows when she's being bullied. Alan knows when he or she is not respected, because she said, "I want to be treated as an adult. I respect you and you respect you." Who taught him that? Nobody. It's inside. It's inside.
It has to come from inside, huh?
It is. That's why it's inside. So when people,
it's human nature.
I saw a film many years ago. It's called The Music Box. So this person went from Nazi Germany to the States. He changed completely his identity, and he was already in his 90s. So nobody knows his past, but he carries it with him. You cannot erase it. The inner core is, I have done something and I have to be accountable for it. And I have to release myself from that prison, which is what I have done. So one day he was with his grandson. They were doing push-ups. Was already in his 90s. And then when they were doing these push-ups, suddenly he broke down because why? He remembered what he did back home. Whatever he did, he remembered it. He carried it inside. So he went to his daughter, the lawyer. He said, "Don't defend me, because I have to get it out of my system. I have to be accountable for this." That is inner core. And nobody tells you this. If you are genuine, you will know it as a person. What happens is that it is substituted for something else. It's, for example, the law of the majority. If people say this, that is why people don't like to talk about it, because the moment you realize it and the moment you accept it and you accept the truth about it, then in order to release you from that prison, you have to own it. And by owning it, you will be liberated.
Wow.
But people will not, because it's you change the things that you can change, but you change the things that conform to your behavior. It's not the things that need to be changed. You change according to your inner core. That's what I was telling you all the time. You change the things that have to be changed. For example, bullying, this has to be changed because it's all over the place. Bullying in the classroom, bullying in the internet, bullying. You have to change this because you have to acknowledge that bullying is wrong. But because it's so rampant, people take it as part of life. Yeah. But somebody like Alan or Natasha, Nobody tells them that it is wrong, but they know that it is wrong. Yes, that is the humanity behind it. Mm.
So for us, it's really just very simple then.
It is simple, and yet people will not want to talk about it. People will not want to visit it. People will not want, because the moment you open the box, you have to make a change. And if you're not, if you're not ready to make a change, then please don't discuss this with me, because it is something that is personal to me.
I almost think that for us, right, we're not out there to like you say, if people are not willing to change, no matter what you say, they're just going to fight you and defend you, and we don't want to spend our energy doing that, you know.
Yes,
I prefer us to be flourishing in our hello.
Yeah, but then you live in a very
I'm all wet in the rain.
But you live in a very superficial environment.
Huh?
Oh,
Washman, we went straight. Oh, you are looking radiant. What's going on? Sorry, both of you are like, Bernie got all dressed up. You are like...
I'm all wet in the rain.
What did you do in the rain?
The chairs were flying. The table was flying. And so we went up and we got everything hunkered down with more bricks and more things. And it was magical to see this grey pouring sky and the wind and the...
You look 16, you know. You do.
Okay, we don't have to disturb. Carry on. I'll catch up.
Yeah, so that's what I was telling. She was asking me again about the inner core. I said inner core is, if you want to put it simplistically, it's your knowledge. You know it, of right or wrong. A child knows when he stole money from the wallet of the dad. A child knows that.
But it has to be made a reflective practice.
Not only a reflective practice, but you surface it. And then it's up to the person to reflect on it. But you have to get it out there. Because once you do this, people will say, stop talking about it. It's none of your business, because it's my life. My life is not your life. So whatever. That's why these words are very popular. Don't be judgmental. It's the way out. Don't be judgmental.
It's a cop out. And instead, so much has become normalized.
It's normal, because when you pinpoint something that is, there's a compass. It's either black or white. There's no gray. Yeah, stealing is stealing. For example, that's why that guy who was in prison, he said he was growing up. Then his dad told him, there's no difference. As far as it is facts, it's just in degree. You can steal a company's money or you can steal a pencil, but you call it stealing. You get something that does not belong to you. So the child knows that from the age of reason. That means the moment he can discern, he was 7-year-old, until he became a trader, and then he did insider trading and he was caught, blue collar, and then he went to prison. After he went to prison, he said, I would rather be a high school teacher because I want to teach the children this. Because it's not reflection, but it is a fact. That's why the person who is able to accept this, if he wants to reject it, he can reject it. If he wants to transform himself, he can do that. I think we will be, I don't know what is going to happen, because we are opening a Pandora's box and nobody wants to talk about this. Maybe we will be smashed. I don't know. You want to go this path? it is a very sensitive area.
I feel
but if you want to put it under the umbrella of character formation, you're not being accusatory, you're not being judgmental, you're forming the character, and it can be.
I think it's the heart of our work. I don't think we have a choice but to do this, you know. There is no other as we root it down, and even the UNDP standards, right? It's rooted at human rights anyway, and that's why I took the photo, right, and put it in the apprentice channel. So we must, when we were working on the places of possibilities, the right of rights came up as number one, you know.
That's right.
So it's right there.
That's right.
After all this talk about protocols and governance and toolkits, it's distilled down to this, right? So we call it inner core, which is a conscience. And if you are living then in human society, it has to be by law, right?
Yes.
So then we just entrench it as a human rights, and that's
that's
where we begin, actually, right?
That's why in the coaching session that we had, this speaker, she went very academic, but she was applauded. She was saying, there is human nature. She said, I'm only talking about human nature. There is such a thing as a natural law. We don't talk of any spirituality. It's outside the ambit of spirituality, because this is going to be very explosive if you talk about spirituality. But she talked about truth, goodness, and beauty according to natural law. It's the same. He said, Aristotle used to talk about this. Socrates used to talk about this. Plato used to talk about this. So she says, how to elevate your coaching. And she developed her talk on this. And people were not offended. And people were very, very switched on. Just it's the way you deliver it. As you say, don't talk about reproductive rights, because that's very explosive. You talk about the right to life. So if you agree on this, then everything else follows. But if you disagree, then your moral compass is different from mine. But is there such a thing as an objective moral compass?
So it's basically looking at the belief system and not shaking that up, because individuals are entitled to their own belief systems.
Yeah, but the belief system can limit you. That's why in coaching we call this SLB. Yeah, SLB means your how do you call it? Your own belief. Yes, your own belief. It might limiting belief, self-limiting belief. Self-limiting.
Yeah.
So
it's the same thing. If the person feels I can't, it's a self-limiting belief.
That's right. So you stay where you are.
You're looping in your own dimension only, you know. And there's no change. There's no change. There's no transformation.
Yeah, you stay where you are. Maybe in coaching, it's very. They call it fear. Then we talked about fear. So your self-limiting belief is fear, because you're always fearful. How can you overcome that? By being courageous. So this is just simple character formation. But when it comes to bigger things, for example, if you think that self-limiting belief is that you are entitled to pinch company property because anyway, nobody sees you, but deep inside you, you don't feel guilty because your own self-limiting belief says, it's okay. Nobody's going to, it's only a piece of pencil or.
But that's where we look at it. I'm just talking from the younger mindsets.
Yeah.
We have that SLB because they've seen the parents steal from the shops, okay?
Yeah.
And so when they steal from the school, they feel that parents have done it in there. So when we bring in the reflective pedagogy and get them think about it,
Yes.
there is a shift in
Yes.
that belief system.
You see, but we have to be, you have to get the inner core correct.
Yeah.
I
agree.
For
Yes.
example, Singapore is a society which is very mindful of this, the rule of law, character.
Yeah.
I was in Popular Bookstore. There were two boys, maybe 7 or 8 years old. The boy was got the ball pen, and then it broke, and then he put it back. The classmate said, "Pay for it. Hey, buddy, you broke it. You go to the counter and pay for it." So that boy has the right compass. But if the other boy says, anyway, nobody will know who broke it, supposing there was no CCTV, he will feel very comfortable. He broke it, he put it back. But if your moral compass says, I broke it, I return it, no, you go to the counter and then pay for it. Another example, I think I was in the bakery. Somebody was getting some pastry, and then it fell on the ground, and then she got it, and then she put it back in the glass case, and then the sales girl who was, "Hey, miss, you pay for that, why you put it back?" So these are very small things, but if you have the moral compass, you will not cheat. No, you will go to the counter and say, "Oh, sorry, I will pay for this." So that's what I mean. It's before you reflect, you already have the platform. That's why you know when you're being bullied, something is wrong. If people don't care about bullying, whether it is in school or whether it is in the internet. Yeah.
I'm hearing two things now. So I'm thinking, we need the platform. So it's a bit of a chicken and egg thing. Where did that platform come from? And then for those people who have what we call the self-limiting belief system that is not healthy, that departs from this inner core, then how do we? Because you have to change your platform, because the platform that you've been stepping on is in a way going to limit you, right?
No, that's why we started correctly. We put all the milestones in character formation. There is no messing around here. We didn't tell them what is a platform.
Okay.
We didn't. You don't have to say, this is what we think. It's up to you to choose. It's your business. They say, it's my business. It's not your business. So don't impose. We didn't do that. We let the human being make those reflections.
We have this 7 milestones, and it's a platform because it's grounded, it's rooted, right? And then we have this reflective pedagogy going on, right? Reflective by giving the choices, right?
Yes.
By giving the choices.
Yes.
And
that's where we stop. Once it is established, the human being is free to make a choice.
Yeah. So we have choices.
You have choices.
So the platforms are guides. So if they had not, and that's what we're doing, breaking all these inherited legacy systems and all that, right? That are not fruitful.
We don't even mention choices.
Yeah.
Because choices, like Andromeda, Ejin, all this youth, we didn't give them any choice. They choose what is supposed to be the right thing to do.
So they chose, and they're acting already, right?
Yeah.
So I think the whole dialogue and all that, and the way we're doing it, is what Washima says. You have all these multiple perspectives. So you hear it, people of the same age as you, people who are of the same place as you, but they become positive. They're also going through the same thing.
Yeah, but it's validated because
it's a validation. It's no longer
you talk to a Malaysian, you talk to a Philippines, you talk to a Hong Kong, you talk to Kenya. It's validated because it's humanity.
And you're not getting the data input from social media, from all these,
No. That's why
from all these
no. That's
happy
why
clappy branding videos, you know.
No. That's why we say we are outside. We are outside.
Yeah.
No, we're inside. It comes from inside.
That's why I think it's working for us, because the reality, you know.
And that's what today, that is the challenge, whether it is in education, the educators, whether it's in the family or in the corporate, it's the ESG economy. Yeah. So if we start simple, we start with the youth, and these are the findings. The youth, we don't have any contradiction, and people will say either they accept it or they say it's none of their business. I go on, I live on. But for people who will recognize the good that it will do to the world, to society, probably the schools will follow us, will adopt.
Yeah, it's really amazing seeing the youth saying, "Can you accept me even though I'm 25 years old?" I mean, that was really heartening, and that was from just one session. I said, "Oh, I haven't even presented my slides," you know. I was just dialoguing, but they were able to discern it. I think that's the beauty of it, and it's validated in the youth.
They are still
Fresh,
upright. They're still upright. Yeah.
They can see what is right, you know.
They can, and that's what is the inner core all about. Yeah, whether it's a 15-year-old or
I think the third piece, Washima, this goes back to your the link you sent from Otto Sharma, right, where it says you're acting from the awareness.
Yes.
This is the awareness. So this platform is the awareness, and we made it visible. You won't get lost. You got some milestones you can, and from this awareness, you get your very diverse validation from all across the world, all walks of life, all individuals. And then I think the third piece is shaping the reality, because this lends very well to our creativity series, you know. Our creativity is going to begin in June, right? That's our next milestone. Because because how do you shape your reality otherwise?
Okay, so I have a short story.
Okay. Share. Yeah.
So there was this child, young preteens, okay, coming from a very difficult home, where taking things away because there was so much of poverty at home. She thought it was okay. Her SLB was, it's okay if I don't have and somebody has it, then I can take it. It was that ingrained self-limiting belief. So anyway, long and short of it, one day when we were in a playground, she found a wallet with money in it. I was next to her. So it was very easy to say, come, give it to me. Let's go give it to the police station here, or let's see what's inside whoever's wallet is. So I just stood next to her with that. I let you decide. What do you want to do with it? Because you found it. And believe it or not, she kept looking at it and thinking, what is it that I was expecting her to do? What is it that she should do? What is it that, and in her own reflection, and it went on. I didn't have to say anything. I was just with her and let her decide. So when Bernie said that children have a good idea what is good, what is wrong, yes, it is inherently there. But then she needed to instill that as a new belief that we don't have right to other people's stuff unless they have given it to us, or you can't just take it away. And so in one of the events in school, when there was a big minister coming, And I always like things which are epic, because epic kind of shakes you up, you know. And then we said, well, sir, you're here, but we have just got a very nice reason to start a new award, and that is for honesty. So we have our first awardee kind of, you know, so would you, so they were all sitting there and things like that. And then we gave her name out. We said, we want to give this award first to Vinita. So, and she couldn't believe it. It was like, I've been awarded for honesty. This, and that message went around a lot of other children, because it is a very big dilemma. Your self-limiting belief system has gone through a lot of dilemma of overcoming what your conscious says is not right, but I want it, I need it, it's mine, it's, you got too much. There's so many underlying dilemmas that children go through. But then when that is validated, so Lighthouse can also be validating these self shifts. And because we are sensitive people, we notice this. And that to me is one-to-one kind of way of bringing them back to themselves, you know, bringing them back to their beautiful selves. You should have seen, I can't even express it. I wish I'd written a chapter about it, because from that day onward, she was a different person. We put up that picture right at the entrance. Imagine a child who's been stealing all their lives, and then there's this one incident which shapes her for the rest of her life. To me, those are the observing adults, the possibilities of seeing that transformation in the quickest possible time, rather than giving long lectures and turning them up to the principal and saying, well, she stole the ball, she da-da-da-da, she da-da-da-da. I mean, how wrong our actions are. So that is something which is woven into the fabric of Lighthouse, that there are sensitive adults who don't go the normal way of stick and carrot punishment, but there is a recognition of that which is beautiful, because they've never been recognized for it. So they don't have that capacity to see right from wrong, because this SLB tells them it's all right, because I've seen my mother do that.
Yeah, because today, for example, there are so many, all these video clips that are going around, kindness. So people are hungry to make a speech.
Yeah.
For example, this one was sent to me. Sometimes I don't open, but sometimes I say, okay, for the sake of this friend, pass it on. It says, there is a blind boy at the corner of the street. Okay? And then it was a busy corner. And then he has this, I'm blind, please help me. Very few people drop the coins.
Yes.
You know this? It went viral. And then there was this guy who saw it, and then he dropped a few coins, and then he changed the sign. It says something. And then the next day, so many people, and then he heard the cling. So many coins were being dropped. But this blind boy knows the footsteps of this guy. And then the guy came, and then he said, what's happening? How come there's so many people dropping coins? And then he said, what did you write? No, I just changed your sign. What did you do? I just said, it is a beautiful day, but I can't see it. So when people saw that, then they started to reflect. You only miss something good when you don't have it.
Right. Beta, make it.
So it is
miss something good.
Because it says there, yeah, you only miss something when you lose it. So it is a very, I would say, we have to be very subdued in the way we give our message. Wow. But at the same time, we have to stick to what is the inner core in man.
Yeah, so these things can be tackled beautifully because of the presence of other minds that can help shape this or
And
can create that experience.
one half of mankind is moving away from what is happening. One half will not make a change, because to make a change demands courage. But if we capture the other half, we help them reflect.
I'm an eternal optimist. I think everyone would have to. I think that the time has come already. I think 50-50 would not make us get humanity through 2030, you know. We won't make it.
No, that's why it's happening now. The COVID has facilitated.
Yeah, we won't make it. COVID requires no one left behind, you know, because even one person has COVID and is untreated, we can't be free in that way. I just want to say about Vashima's sharing. I felt very moved, right? I was nearly in tears, you know, because I've spent so many years with Vashima on this, right? And I never really got what you were doing until you just shared it. I mean, it hit home. How actually your pedagogy is about responding immediately, you know. The shifting of the SLB, rather than it being in a lecture series or a journal. Yeah. And so I keep seeing that's what you're doing. You see that and you respond straight away and you pop that child right on the trajectory again, you know. So I think that's the spirit of our action point for BB Lighthouse. Yeah.
It's never failed.
Yes, and you scooped me out of my rut quite a bit. So both of you did. So I'm just trying to see both of you. You're quite cute, you know, both. Yeah, I've experienced both of you in the transformation and shaping of character and getting out of SLB. So Vashima is epic. Then after that, Bernie will come in and remind us of the subtle smallness. The subtle. You went and said it has to be very subdued, you know. So I love these two counterpoints, and they are. It's an art, you know. It's an art and craft of character formation, isn't it?
Yeah, because if you highlight what is missing, it's very confrontational. It's very aggressive.
Yes.
It's very aggressive.
So it's too aggressive and confrontational. But the time is here. I keep saying it's here. It's already confronting us.
No, but I'm saying that we can relay the message in a way that is more reflective, as Vashima say. We help people reflect rather than say otherwise, because there's nothing better than giving the message and leave it to the person to reflect on it.
I think by our just keeping going, people started to get very curious. And then by our many ways of expressing the same thing, I think it's moving lots of people, and now we're making it visible, because I think we needed that 5 years to do our own inner reflection as a group, you know, because all of us came to a point, right? I mean, the whole world did, regarding sustainable development, until all the frameworks came out. I mean, it's great that the frameworks are out now, because it was very dark before COVID, actually. The dark night, I think, was actually before COVID. I think most of us hit a wall and we were really down in our pits, you know. That's why we had come together, and that time before I even worked with you, no, it was the same time. I think I started working with Bernie around 2015, and Washima quite a lot more in 2015 to 2016. We did the Wildflowers Nights and all that, where we say we're going to break all kinds of framework, our professional biases, our our own SLBs, right, by coming together. Yeah, and that's
Because
how we discovered Bilberries Blue.
Beck, that's the time we were what Wildfire was like, playing with possibilities. That's really what we were looking at.
Our hearts
Is
were our hearts were broken, you know, Vashima, at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, now maybe we've forgotten about it.
Yeah.
Our hearts were in smithereens to the point where each of us couldn't continue in the trajectory that we were in the work and in the community that we were working on. That's why we came together. It was kind of like a confluence of coming together and healing ourselves and getting that renewal, you know. Don't you think in 5 years we completely renewed and now we are like, whew.
Now we are lighthouses.
Yeah. And it's stable. What I love about it is it's still dynamic. It's not hard. We haven't hardened. We've strengthened instead. We have dissolved quite a lot of our perceptions, our opinions, and now we are. It's really quite beautiful to be able to just, and we become friends, and we, you know, actually even like family, right? The care is sincere. You know, it's nobody can explain that shift, right? For me, it's like, my goodness, from being completely heartbroken to now that it's real. I can call any of you. We can do this, and we're so comfortable, and we're even recording it. You know, because
it's the I come back to it. It's forming the person. For example, you call any calamity, whether it's pandemic, it's typhoon, it's fire, it's sickness, it's cancer. This in itself is neutral because humankind is subjected to all this. Nobody's spared. There will always be this. You say you're so pessimistic. No, I said neutral. Whether it is pandemic or cancer, it's neutral. But what happens is the type of sufferer is what is. The pain itself is neutral, but it's not the suffering, but it's the person who is the sufferer. Right? And that is the big difference, because if you're the type of person who looks at this as calamities, as tragedies, etc., etc., then you will really curse, you will blaspheme, you will hate the world, because you can't do anything with this. But if the sufferer is the person who says, let's move on, let's look at what can we learn from this and what is the benefit for this. So it's either you blaspheme or you curse, or you say, this is an opportunity for me to move on. So it's COVID, it's typhoon, it's bankruptcy, it's everything. But what is the reality is the sufferer, the type of person.
Yeah. And intellectually, it's easy to verbalize than to actually live that life in everyday response to everything around you.
But if you mention it, if you put it in a very subdued, in a very subtle way, it makes a person. If you're going to curse the world because they are not doing enough for the pandemic, there's a lot of corruption in the pandemic, there's a lot of this and this, you as a person will never get out of the rut. But if I say, okay, mumps, for example, in 1960, it took 10 years for the vaccine to be discovered. Now, in 1 year's time, they have already discovered 4 vaccines. So my perception or my reflection on what is happening is no more negative, because I see it, wow, there's a breakthrough now. Rather than say, oh, there's blood clot, you have many ways of saying don't be negative or don't be pessimistic. But it's either we move them here, we move the needle, and that's what we're trying to do. We move the needle this way in a very
so it's half glass full, half glass empty.
The same. So, but you can put many concepts, but it's all the same.
So it's
build the character.
It's the resilience now that we're getting at. And we have always said that Bilberries Blue lighthouses will have to have it's skills, right? It's resilience, it's stewardship and resilience. So it's about how then do you have the ability to do it. So one part is intellectual, right? You have to have thinking. And then another part is what Washima is saying is the emotions, right? The feeling.
Yeah.
So how so then you're going to say, so what we're going to say is then we have to be able to always see the positive, right?
And also, it's
Yeah.
man is multi-dimensional. You cannot be
Yeah.
only dry intellect. You have to have the heart, the mind, the same thing that you're saying all the time.
Yeah.
The mind, the will, and the heart.
So the mind, the will, and the heart. Okay. So then you develop this maturity, right? To be able to reflect and respond to life is from life, and then it's death, isn't it? It's from life, many different types of experiences. Some people different. I think the Chinese saying is "sang lo bang sei fu." You know, it's a today is Vesak Day, so it comes from this kind of building this resilience, right? Where there's life, there's birth, there's aging, there's death, there's sickness. You know, so you see life already as very, like you say, it's neutral. You can't be a Peter Pan. You know, when you're young in childhood, you have all these fairy tales, right? Then suddenly starts to happen, right? And maybe some children life actually happens very early, so you're not so protected, so life starts to happen, the harshness of society. So at some stage we have to realize that living is complex, right? It's complex. Like we face different types of people, they have different belief systems. Some people are nice, some people are mean, you know. One country may be like this culturally, another country may be like that culturally, and so how do you still maintain that that you can have the energy and the courage and the disposition to shape something always positively, right? This is
That's
how
why,
we're
that's why
yeah.
we started from the beginning, is your identity, remember?
Mm,
Say identity is key, because you can be from Kenya, you can be from Philippines, you can be from India, you can be from here. But identity is what? You are just identified with this. So all the things that we have gone through, they're all extrinsic. Remember?
yeah,
Because
Penny, so
they say,
I'm still thinking even
hmm,
the how you see life and respond to it still comes back to the inner core, you know.
that's
I'm
right.
trying to get to
That's right.
understanding that
You just
yeah, you
look at the
can't you can't really brain it one. You can't really say, oh, because it's your attitude to want to, like, okay, I'm going to get in charge of this. I'm going to get on top of this, right? This has happened. I'm overwhelmed. I'm whatever. But if your inner disposition is to say, I'm going to give up, or like you say,
That
blaspheme.
is why we
Yeah.
go back to the core, which is the character formation. That's why when we went back to that, then they started to say, I want to be a doctor, I want to help my parents. It's all achievement directed. And I reminded them, let's not look at achievements, because life is not about achievements. Let's look at ourselves. And that's why we said from there, we went into dignity. Many things were said about dignity. It's emotional, it is giving back to others, it's correcting your mistakes, not being offended when you're criticized. Remember all those statements. And nobody was telling them what. Everybody, it comes from inside of them. They were not tutored, they were not lectured, they even said, dignity is this. And then the third, we said, okay,
Yeah,
not yeah,
they were reflecting so well.
because the
They,
inner
yeah.
core is very healthy.
Ah,
And then the
ah.
last one is recreate. Again, beautiful things came out. Everybody has their own personality behind it.
So once your inner core is healthy, Washima, I said on the mind, will, and as a skill, that what I feel is you can only do all that. You can't teach the skills, right? Oh, meditate, whatever that people. Only it's still coming from inside, right? The strength of the
But-
light is coming
but
from
as
inside.
Bashima
Right?
was saying,
It's a strength. It's a strength. It's an energy.
Inside, if the inside is not properly developed, or it developed in the wrong way, that's where the things happen the way they happen. Like this girl, suddenly it developed the wrong way, and then she was able to develop honesty. She went back. So that's what
Okay.
we're trying to do now.
So what we're looking at is the value of relationship. Over here, if I was just another principal somewhere, it would be out of fear. So again, we look at the value of relationship that comes from I care for you. I'm there for you. So that is as a value which will give you the energy that Peck is talking about. You know, where that is not, that is pretty much unconditional.
That's why you mentioned another nail on the head. You say the value of relationships, because life is relational.
Yes. Yes. So
Yeah,
so
I say
feel-
unconditional love, and everybody say cannot. Then I say it's just love and friendship also cannot. You're like, love and friendship in doing business and also cannot.
No, because for them, no, because what I'm hearing is, for them, they have modified the meaning of relations. They have modified the meaning of friendship.
You know what Saif sent, right? On the Apprentice channel, you know? You got it straight away. The reason why we're all buzzed up and happy, and Tasha and Ellen and I mean the youth and people are speaking up, is because we're it's real. It's it's a real friendship, and we're developing, and soon Edgin and Andromeda and Felrose, they'll become our friends, like Tasha and Ellen, and Tasha and Ellen, since 14 years old, since Ellen was 8. I mean, I reminded my husband, hey, you were a stranger once in my life, Yeah, he was like, oh yeah, huh? So that which we call family and a spouse or whatever, and then have offsprings, the strangers, we can't marry our own family members, I mean.
And that is very relevant now, because with the technology, with where the world is going, everybody will become very individualistic. Everybody will be very isolated. Everybody will be a stranger to each other because there is no friendship.
Again, one of the reasons friendships thrive is also because they are nourishing beyond just entertainment.
That's right.
So it has to be an experience within a lighthouse that is not entertaining. It's not edutainment. I had a big stuff with edutainment chain that had taken over Singapore. Everything had to be entertaining, like you come and teach everything, honesty. A clown comes and teaches you honesty.
Tasha, you see me and Auntie Washima going, good morning, Tasha. Would you like to learn about Bilberries Blue today? No. Yeah, I think it's okay, we have a lot of fancy words. We have to do the fancy words to get the grants. We've done it. The framework is kind of robust. We whacked it already. Everything.
Yeah, what Bashima mentioned. Okay, we have this very substantial conversation, but don't forget, you have to put humor. That's why she says sense of humor. You have always to put that sense of humor, because otherwise, if it is gravitatis, people will run away.
Gravitatis, funny, you are like some walking Latin and Spanish. I love being in session with you. You're like, okay, I will summarize it in one sentence, and then it's gravitatis.
Yeah.
No, that's beautiful. Yeah.
That's why even the youth, they have that gravitatis, they have that maturity. That's why Alan, when he said
What is that,
yesterday,
gravitatis?
Yeah, maturity.
Wow.
You see,
I like that, you know. Actually,
Yeah.
it's about maturity, you know. We're talking about
because
SLB
Alan
lah,
read
this one lah. Some kids are born mature. Some kids are born until the whole lifetime they cannot mature.
But that doesn't, that gravitas has nothing to do with age, right?
Nothing.
It-
nothing. So
It's an old
that's why
soul. We used to call it old soul. Very simple. You know?
Yes.
That's why Alan is
Also,
saying, if you read again what he wrote, he
Mm.
said, what do you want? He said, please respect me and I respect you. And why are you happy with this group, BB? Because they treat me as an adult.
as
What does that
so
mean?
when
You
they
need to
say
ask
as
him
an
about that.
adult,
Yeah.
see, when he says as an adult, it also means they treat me as an equal.
Ah.
So it's not the adult as an age that you don't, but it also means you're treating me as an adult. You don't undermine me.
You don't patronize me.
You don't patronize me. You don't
Mm.
undermine me. You believe in me that I can rise to any occasion.
You said that when you saw me working, right? You said, Pat, you don't have. I said, what do you mean? If you're in front of me working with me, we're working. You know, whatever age you are, whatever, right? So it's that, right? It's bizarre. So,
But then in a hierarchical society or hierarchical workspaces, that equality of not undermining the other is a huge gap between that practice. So in the schooling system, you see, it's done because of not everybody can have a voice, because then there'll be no work done. Generally, that is where you contain the chaos by just one voice, the authoritative voice. So a lot of this in the lighthouse, we are not toppling it, but we're replacing it with the belief that everyone has so much to contribute and everyone's voice is important, everyone's experience is important, and the next steps are shaped with keeping individuals and their perspectives in mind. It's not an authoritarian place.
You can't break their coherence, you know. Everyone has to develop their own language.
We
are different threads weaving a fabric, you know.
Yeah. So we may agree to disagree, but that is again done in normal workspaces with a lot of bitterness. We try and use it as a tool that, okay, I agree to disagree, but after that, your body language, your looks, your preferences, everything changes.
There must be a commitment to peace, isn't it? To really, what is that word?
I think there's a big capacity to hear another perspective. We are so married to our own ideas that just don't.
Natasha and Alan gave us the lesson. When Natasha said, what do you think of a tree? She said, open-mindedness.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because you're in a meeting, you always have your own opinion. You don't want to give up your opinion. Then the result is conflict.
So I think the inner core, so friendship, when you care for somebody or each other, I think the harmony and the well-being that we're all talking about, right, comes from
naturally come.
You will say, okay, this conflict is not worth it. But there are some people who will harden the conflict.
Yeah,
right?
But if you shift, you say, I want to have a friendly attitude, friendship will come in. Open-mindedness will come.
You see, in friendship, sometimes when we see our friends veering off, we go in very hard, you know.
That's right.
That's moral courage, you know.
But there are many, when you talk of friendship, we can be theoretical again. There are many kinds of friendship.
No, I'm talking about us coming together. Say, BB Lighthouse is a group of friends. friendship, right? So we're having all these dialogues to guide all these lighthouse keepers, right? I mean, we say the youths have to lead this. So we're going to have to take a step back here now, right? We're not going to be the one doing. I'm just going to get the space and say, hey, I got a contract. Can somebody help me draft this too? You know, I mean, I'm really going to do this like how we used to do all our programs. We used to let all the kids lead it. So now we let the youth lead it from scratch. So I'm not going to even do anything anymore. Starting from yesterday, I made up my mind. You know, it's very weird because if not, they're not going to know how to do it. And if they don't know how to do one piece, the lighthouse will break. Okay, that's my realization. So three of us cannot even do one piece, okay? Because they must make the decision for every piece.
Whatever you write, you're looking at it from your own lenses.
Yes, that's right. All we can do is share our lenses, share our guidance.
If you have a lens of the youth, then you can be pure in your writing. But you can't do that anymore because you don't have the right lenses.
No, I'm not a youth anymore. I'm not.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't come from that world. I don't,
Yeah.
So if this is for them to lead, then they have to do every single piece, every choice. Enough of them have to turn up to want to do the work. So we are still very open with it. I mean, we've completely opened up all the possibilities, right? We could connect the whole, I mean, in a couple of weeks, if you think about it, from BB Studios to today, how many people have we connected in ecosystems? But it's not about the achievement and the outcome of it. It's not like to say, oh, suddenly we have 5 BB lighthouses. No, it means nothing. It did nothing. But to know that it can be done, and then the next step is other people have to rise. They have to rise and say, yes, we will fight for this, having this BB lighthouse in our space because, and the spirit of it is actually a spirit of friendship. The spirit of friendship. And I remember you sent something to me. You said, I thought about friendship and I thought about you, Ping An, So Bernie had sent that to me. Because friendship will have conflicts, but then you will have a commitment, or any relational will have conflicts, whether it's your spouse, with your children, with your in-laws, etc., with your friends, with your community. So the commitment, so how do you resolve conflicts without the bitterness that Washima talks about, right? You cannot say, I agree to disagree and then make a sulky face. That's like you know? Yeah, and then you come and just have pity parties and slander and blaspheme and, and that's what people are doing, I mean, it's, or you come also with talks of blah, 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 da, 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 da. Not helpful too, So we want...
But this is something which is very natural in childhood. When children are playing and the rules of the games change, they are constantly forgetting that this was my idea, your idea. They are in it. So sometimes that stage and age has that additional advantage. But whereas we grow up, we try and possess our ideas as if that is the... So that's where I find it a big difference in a environment, which is what I was trying all my while in the workspace, that let's go for the best idea. It doesn't matter whose idea. Let's look at what works best. So there is a collaboration, and we are not used to collaboration generally in the workspaces or in school experiences. Everyone is seen as who's done it, who should get the credit, who should, it's constantly competitive. So breaking away from that and looking at, it doesn't matter, the idea was born within the company of the conversations. So it is, everybody owns it and everybody, so it's basically the environment, the experience within that environment, which is going to be the highlight of a lighthouse experience.
It nourishes.
That nourishes. That doesn't undermine, but it is like that conversation that will lead to distilling everybody's ideas into one great epic idea. And normally this requires time. And a lot of institutions and organizations and classrooms don't have the liberty of time. So time becomes a value.
Because our goal is the friendship, is the true
So friendship,
collaboration.
So friendship again then needs to be broken up, as there is a huge amount of listening. So listening also is a value. Because if I don't have time for you, but I just want to get a tick mark going, which is where most of the stuff is played out, then I'm just one of the many to just go with the flow.
There's no
Get
depth,
the work done.
I don't know how people do it. They say, okay, I'm involved in this, I go here. But there's no depth. If there's no depth, your life has no depth.
Yeah, but then this idea,
no extension of the participation, right, in this activity. It becomes an activity to activity to activity.
You should see the amount of slow approach to life has come in as a huge movement. When I say movement, it is not like copying each other, but we've also started at home eating slow, taking time over things, because the mind gets to process a lot of the richness in the experience, which is what the school children never got the chance to. They still don't. Even a 3-year-old is hurried and rush. So that's another part where things don't have to be done for tick mark, but also to get the essence out of that experience. And new things are born, new life, new surge of energy, new insight, new wisdom. All that needs a deep contemplative conversation and lots of humor to it, because it can get too deep otherwise. Too deep in the sense it will get like, very cerebral. But it has to be connected to the emotions. So the tears and laughter are part of intense education, intense conversation.
Very
but none
real,
of
very
this is
human.
available.
Very human.
None of this is available to children. Tasha, do you remember your teacher taking time? Okay, let's think about this. Let's see what everyone feels about it. Have you had more of these conversations, or rather it is like, let's get the work done. So those are the mind energies that are getting the work done. So there's a lot of shift in the interaction and the kind of experience that Lighthouse makes it possible to have. Right? Because then, even if I have said one thing in the class, it has taken me a lot of courage to find my voice and not be laughed at by friends, not be laughed as, oh, that's a stupid idea. So to create that ethos within a lighthouse, that no one is stupid. Basically, if you want to boil down to Singaporean kind of, they even made that movie, I'm Not Stupid. So how come we had to make that movie? For the society to acknowledge how quickly we diminish the voice of the young ones. What do you say, Tasha? Am I making sense?
Yeah.
So if we have to reach out to the youth, we have to give them the right to voicing. And then in the Singapore context that I know, anything that is voiced is seen as dissent. You see? So that becomes like, oh, you're disrespectful because you're not kind of going with the flow. You're being a capo. You're being... There's already a societal big boulders that we have to overcome to bring in that experience in a lighthouse.
Yeah.
I still find it as simple as setting out a space, make sure it's clean, have some
cleanliness in Singapore context is not a problem.
Yeah.
That's the least of the...
Just have a space and have the cakes and the cookies and the rotis that you're bake, I mean, it's a home. To me, it's just a home. Every time all of you are describing everything to me, I just find it's parenting. I don't understand it. That's why I'm still having a disconnect. I think it's just basic. You just have a place that's very safe, and people of all ages come, whoever they are, however they are, and you know,
So
and yeah,
a space doesn't exist in a vacuum. An experience just doesn't happen. There is a big way of the experience that you want to be able enable. Like people can get together and have a good time. So is it lighthouse is a place where you just have a good time? You get your free cookies and you get your people to listen to you. So there has to be, at least in our minds, in our creating that experience. Like say, for example, if I'm creating an experience in Edu Retreat, I work 24 hours for 24 months, in the sense everything is put together, and then of course it's free, but for everything to fall in place, a lot has to be put in place.
yeah, that you do, you
So
have
we can't be looking, I can't say, it would be very foolish of me to say, oh, Edu Retreat just happens. No, Edu Retreat just doesn't happen because I'm getting so many minds from different what was the word, self-limiting, SLB. So many minds from their own SLB, from different countries, from different age groups, from different professions, from different. So we can't just imagine that we put them together in a room and the magic will happen. Well, if it does happen, then we are very grateful for it. But normally it doesn't. So a lot needs to be put in place for it to fall in place. That's my behind the scene experience.
I think so sorry, go on.
No. So I feel that unless I'm proven wrong, my SLB for creating an experience of just put cakes and everything together, yes, it'll have great conversations. We can have great conversations. So is it a place for great conversations? Why not?
No, I was thinking of what you had written on the places of possibilities, that the space enables the participation of every child. So if we're talking about inner core, we're talking about the child in us, right? So I'm thinking like that, and then the space allows the participation.
Yeah. So say, for example, I had to put all my participants from around the world to interact with a group of who's who in a city of Udaipur in Rajasthan. The city has given itself an identity that it is India's first learning city. Okay, so everything around the activists, the people who are doing NGO work, people who are making a difference to communities, they all have this, that they're going to strive for making it into a learning city, because again, lifelong learning had become a worldwide thing also. So if the city is learning, then we are learning from all intergenerational groups, and the grandmothers are no more sitting and keeping their wisdom to themselves, but they're coming out there. So I had to put the grandmothers, the minds which were very rich and working very closely with the community, with my Western mindsets. Now, if I was to have a seminar or just put them in a room and think that it's going to happen, it would take a long time, because there was no relationship. So then I had to replace it with, let the hands be busy. That means I had put up in a room in somebody's home that had a terrace, placed people around things which were to do with hands. So somebody was weaving and people could join at the weaving. So they could come up with a carpet by the end of the 3-hour conversation. Some were pounding. You know how in India you have the spices? So we had this huge spice and from the spice rack, they were pounding chilies, because with chilies you have to be careful, otherwise it would fly in the eyes or it would burn your hands. So they were there. And then there was some kind of painting going on. People could join. There was some other with the threads, they have some crafts. So I took the local crafts and I put it at the center of you find what attracts you. And that turned out to be, so we had to plan all this before the deep conversation could take place in the shortest possible time. That is my experience.
I think it's too much.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of skill, Oshima. You had built this over many years.
Yes.
It's not
Yes.
possible for a lighthouse keeper to be able to host it like this. We got to simplify even more.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
Less curation.
No, this is just example as to
Yeah.
how then that
No, I
becomes
agree
the
with you. I agree with you
experience,
because I did quite a lot. We did quite a lot of the therapy related education as well, right? And
Yeah.
character formation with all the sensory and it burnt us out. And I was reflecting on that. And I think it's because it's not, and then it wasn't natural. It's edutainment, but it was also not natural. Then the integration of the child into the real world didn't actually happen also, you know. So for, I think, Lighthouse, to get through COVID in the dignity of a human, right, it's to just live it, right? And if Lighthouse can be a space where we just map out all the library of resources and the spaces, let each individual drive their own.
So what would be the role of a light keeper as they design it?
Design it bit by bit, space by space, and they will know how to respond, and they will know what their needs are. Keep the space very clean, like as in, you know, if it's a workstation, it's a workstation. If it needs to be for this, because we cannot foresee what works and what doesn't work, because somebody might be coming in a wheelchair, somebody might be needing different, you know. We want to be as open as possible, really open. If we start curating, if we start doing, we'll definitely limit somebody, because we would not be able to foresee the need of that person. So we would prefer somebody to say, I want to be a lighthouse keeper, like say Saifullah, for example. If he would say yes, then we will work for him, right? So they drive it themselves first. You have to build something for yourself first, then hopefully you're representing other people, right? So it doesn't have to be fully comprehensive, because we have many sites, right? So just start with one, whichever come out. Let be very evolutionary. At some stage there will be a pattern. There will be a pattern, and there will be, it's shared spaces and it's shared library of resources. But because of COVID, we cannot even have it shared spaces because of the possible cross-infectivity. And I'm thinking about this very deeply. Our lighthouse spaces will be very small, maximum 5 people only, you know. I don't even want to go beyond 8, because 8 was phase 3, right? And now we can't, in the next 6 months, it's not even going to hit 8, you know, in Singapore. 2 to 5, if you're lucky, we get back to 5. So that's the reality. That is the reality in COVID. We can't have all this open thing and people running around either. It doesn't work. It's too risky for the individuals that we hope to serve. They are vulnerable people, you know. So for health, from a health perspective, so I think that's the reality. Something very real. They can access it online, the resources, they can access us.
So when we're talking about resources, just go through with me as to what resources, and let's look at how somebody like Natasha can access those resources. So what resources?
So like Natasha, I would ask her, okay, so Natasha is really identifying for herself what her personal atelier is, right? So we said she likes art to make things, for example. And she likes to teach children, education. And the third piece I thought Natasha has is she has wonderful insights and articulation. So you can start with, say, okay, Natasha, this is what we're going to work on. Maybe not 3 years, maybe the next 6 months, for example. Okay. So it's like all of us have a personal program. I have a personal program, you know. So this is going to be the work, apart from all the other work. And then for art, who are you going to access? You're going to access artists. You're going to access books. I remember when I was leaving Boston, the art teacher said, ask me if I had books there, Bilberries Blue had tons of art books, for example. There's no stopping anybody. So you can access it online, very difficult if there's no navigation, you know, although it's all over the world. But you can have an art mentor. You can have then specific books that are recommended. You take home, you borrow it back, and you can do some work at home. You start setting up a studio in your house, if that's really what you want to do. And then the lighthouse space can also have a studio. Then you see, okay, which is the lighthouse that is closest to your space, your home, or which is the lighthouse that has a safe routing for you, or which is the lighthouse that has the synergy of resources. Okay, say maker space has all this stuff. Okay, if you like sewing, maker space has all the sewing machine. Or if you think you are into woodwork, we would be able to partner somebody that has a woodwork facilities, you know. And then our lighthouse space can just be there where it's like a rest place for you. That's
and the
how I
lighthouse
see.
keeper, yeah, that's great. Lighthouse keeper then connects and
You
creates
see, the
those-
lighthouse keeper are the values keepers, actually. They understand the energy and the ethos of the lighthouse. So, and Tasha and Ellen are our lighthouse keepers because they have been with us. They have experienced the micro summit with us, you know. They have experienced the butterfly camp. So they know what we're talking about when we talk about this. They know when something is off. Right, Tasha? When something is no longer Bilberries Blue, they will know straight away. They will remind us, you know. So it's more like that. And then as we go on more and more, the youth stewards will also start understanding, okay, this is what we mean by Bilberries Blue, having an inner core, supporting somebody's rerouting, you know, from their SLBs very fast, right on the spot, and kindly and lovingly, you know, and then doing very and then each of us supporting each of us, discovering our gifts and talents and deepening it, right, you know, and then somehow as one, we are still following brilliant ideas to brilliant ideas. We will chat about it, we will distill it, you know, as one. Is so the lighthouse right now is really multi-sites possibilities, and it will have the shape of so there is a beautiful book, yeah, it's called The Shape of Me. So the inquiry is very interesting. So now we have our innate core and we have our identity. What is the shape of me? The physical 3D shape of me, because we are material beings, you know. A lot of people have stuck here, right? So when you talk about hands and all that, right, it is about interacting with the natural world, you know, with gravity, with so that's one part, which is the shape of me meeting the shape of you, because you are in a human form. And then somebody is a bee, somebody is a flower. Okay, sorry. This is kind of my universe. That's why I feel very happy every day, because I have a shape of me meeting a shape of somebody, you know, and then I have the shape of us, right?
So what's the shape of us? What
This is
what
what
do
we're
you
doing
see?
now. This is
No,
what
what
we're
do you
doing.
see? No,
The
what do
shape
you
of
see?
us. Like,
What do you see
for
the shape
lighthouse or the world?
for us, four of us right now?
4 of us. The shape of
What
us.
shape? What do you see?
Huh?
What do you see?
We have to be making things right now. We're kind of like we're a movie right now. We're a documentary. Yeah, because we are. Oh, you have to go. Yeah, but we have become a documentary series.
I have
Okay,
to go.
thanks, Benny.
Okay.
Thank you.
You go on. Yes. Yes. Okay.
Huh? Washiba, shape of us. We're coming into space design already, you know, because they are going to ask us, if I give you a space, What are you going to do with it? And then we're saying, and you're saying you have to curate and all that. We don't have those anymore. We can't even do it. If you go into a lockdown, we can't even do it. And then what's going to happen to that space, right? So we have to design it such that the space can be alive even if it's just one person or two people in there. And it's still very nourishing and justifies us holding on to that space, you know.
So say example, you get it at SGX. Okay, say for example, you get a space at SGX. So we have the resources there. And then I'm just trying to visualize, because sometimes it's
every space has its community. Every space has essentially its function. If it's SGX, it is to click from people wanting to go to being a listed company. Okay, those who really are desiring to learn that journey. Okay, it's all about learning, right? It's all because we're all about enabling. So then you don't go sit there and be fancy, right? You go there because there is a space where there's an ecosystem where you can access people. And so it's like how we go from meeting to meeting. Remember that day when we went from meeting to meeting? It's the same. So I go from one space to another. I'm actually accessing the ecosystem, the intimacy that allows the ecosystem to be accessed. And then once the ecosystem knows, oh, you're so near us, I'll just drop by for a cup of tea or something, you know, and we'll be because, and then we'll be working. We may be catching up about, oh, how's your family, and we do that at work anyway, you know, where we drop by and have coffee in say in Shenton Way, or have coffee in you know, and then like when we went into AMKFSC, you know, we're entering the ecosystem. But the difference now is what we found was entering an ecosystem, then you're a guest. You can't really do the work. You have to work with the culture that's there. We found that it's very difficult to embed our cultural change, right? In some ways, the cultural mediation. Okay, so we have then our space, right, where then our lighthouse keepers, or the work that we do and the people that we serve can have that safe haven, can have this whew, I don't need all these narratives. Because even if we fill the lighthouse keepers into another space, oh my goodness, they're going to be slaughtered with the narratives. I mean, we were slaughtered with the narratives. Can you imagine? We with our buzzing energy. So this is the iteration and evolution from our learning. The lighthouses are our safe havens. I have no other honesty than that. And I will say that to everybody. And that's why I'm putting it in recording. Because it's a conviction. It's an assessment. And after listening, after all the distillation, because we're committed to making this work, right? It's not just a paper exercise. To put in all this effort, you know, can you imagine how many rounds of meetings we've had already, right?
Absolutely. Well, there is definitely a very appealing side to it. It's a very big necessity too. Yes. We see that.
I think that's what's drawing us to.
Yes. And it's only in a matter of trying it out there. Yeah. Having people who believe in it.
Yeah.
And see what comes out of it. Because sometimes we just enter a zone with agendas. And if a place is without agendas, except that it's going to serve its purpose in wonderful ways that we still can only imagine.
I think that's the spirit of us going into any space, you know?
Yeah.
With the same openness, like what Natasha has said, same humility and subtlety as what Bernie has said. If not, there will be a very aggressive response. Right?
Yes. So,
and people are tired, people are stretched, people are worried, people are scared stiff, people are already hitting deaths and griefs, real stuff, you know. I mean, then they don't want to be lectured to. They don't want to be saying, can you move out of your SLB? I don't think so, you know.
Yeah.
I don't, I think if during this COVID years, what can we be? We can just be, you know, the arrival of something new is always rectangle.
Yeah.
The arrival
Yeah.
is something novel, something refreshing, something. It's a birth of something new, you know. That's coming to me now. It's the birth of the baby is actually one of the most uplifting. Maybe the babies are gonna come in, huh? You know, I've always wanted to do that baby's work. You know, interesting.
Interesting. Okay, so now let's get this going with the next step. We talk for 2 more days or 1 more day now.
Today is Wednesday.
Thursday, Friday, we talk.
No need already. I think
No
it's no need already. Today, because I think I just needed today for that clarification
Yeah.
of the inner core. And then I think today we recorded wonderful stuff about the pedagogy, the reflective pedagogy. I think
Yeah.
it was really to synthesize Bernie and your work and your experiences about formation or human development, or so if not, we're going to loop another round already.
Yeah.
I
And
think,
sometimes this kind of job is better to be researching while it is happening, and that shapes the next steps.
Yeah,
So that's also part of pedagogical documentation, because each documentation shapes the pathway and finds new pathways because of the reflection that's gone into it.
Yeah, my shift that I had, and it was useful these couple of days, was really to let the youth lead, and therefore, so I'm not sure about the first lighthouse, because the first lighthouse may actually be BB Studio, you know, just replanting somewhere else. It's not BB Lighthouse yet, because I just need a place to put everything. So I had asked, I have to find my way to the studio next week. I don't really want to go out into the bus and all that, so I have to find my way there. And then I have 5 more boxes to pack, which will take me 1 day. Then one of the spaces has to give us the contract. I think I want to sign the agreement first before we move everything there. You know,
that's, you know, that part of it has to be secured. Yes.
Yeah. So we have about 3 weeks left only. The landlord has already indicated 4 weeks, but so it's very, very tight. So it's 3 weeks. It's back to my stress again, you know. So and there was so many boxes, and if we were to tear everything apart,
but landmark, if we do, then that will be incurring cost of the rentals and everything, right?
Yeah, there was the other thought that maybe we just go and get our own space. I did have the other thought.
Get your own space as an own rental.
With the grants.
That again, with the grants. So then the grants have to be assured before you take in that step. So you can't
even if we take even if we take up another space, they will have to at least ask us to pay a nominal rental or utilities, you know.
Yeah. No, so if it has to come from the grant, then all the focus is on the grant to get that going. Because without the grant, I don't think you should invest in a space, because that will be draining every month. And with the way COVID is, we don't know how much of it is going to take off.
The other alternative is, if there's no space and no grants, we really donate everything away.
Even if you put it in storage,
it's still going to cost money. And worse still, nobody uses it.
Yeah.
We have to make very hard decisions now,
Yeah.
so that the response from the community is real, you know. If not, we're just going to carry on like
Because
this
again,
with all the resources and nobody is using it, you know.
no, but the idea is still avant-garde. So in this current scenario, the idea is still ahead of its time. We know the old system is broken. We know the old system needs new solutions, new way of being, new way of opportunities, new way of engaging and integrating. All of that we see it as requirement.
Then the other
Yes.
thing is very simple, Washi. I just go and earn money to pay for the rental. It's, you know, because I don't want to spend my energy to keep convincing people, explaining to them. You know, I've already spent good couple of weeks, you know, it's taken me time from my revenue generating activities.
Yeah.
So this was the other thing that was hitting home to me. Is like, we can't be sitting down here. I mean, we are ready to essentially, you know, have a ESG, SDG consulting advisory services going already, you know. I don't think it's a charitable organization in that sense. We have to have the ability to be able to generate, you know, the world has to transform, and the big organizations and all that, right, have budgets, right?
So
We
the
have to
idea
go get, so yeah.
So the idea is to get everything in a ship shape for it to be put across the table for funding. So while we can have our, because people need hard brass tacks to say, okay, this will, you know, somehow funding comes with their own expectation.
That's all okay. That's just, we do that all the time, you know, pitch
Yeah.
decks and all that. That's not a problem.
Then, so, but provided if that's not a problem, then let's get a funding. Then it just adds fuel to all this taking.
It's not going to be in time. 4 weeks, nobody will give you a funding in time.
Then what are we going to do? Then
We
what are we going to do?
rent and earn money.
Hmm?
I think it's faster for us to sell our services and to get a grant. We were still pitched for the grant, but it won't be so fast. And it'll be very specific for some particular projects anyway, whether it's the enabling grants and all that. Like you say, they already have things they want to fund, you know. So, I mean, if the space comes through, if for with the secondary school, then we have that space there. That's a lovely space to begin. But that's it.
So even getting a space that will hold the resources, that will keep it as a place of initial conversations and putting it into practice, what we're talking about, will again help.
Yeah, it's just BB Studio again until BB Lighthouses. So I'm thinking BB Lighthouses, we postpone it by a year.
Okay.
Because, and get the Templeton Foundation grant for BB Lighthouses. Okay. We don't roll it this year. Okay.
We don't roll it because they have very specific deadline date for commencing something like that.
Yeah.
And I think it will fit in very well with the Templeton.
Yeah.
And then now that we've done all this thinking,
yeah, I don't think we can get it anyway because it requires us to be like 1,000. So I'm not very sure. So I have to go and relook at it again. But I would push it back, the lighthouse idea, to align with the Templeton grant. I think even if the competition doesn't award it for us or we can't fit in, I think they will look at our concept, and not just our concept, our work to date. I think they will be able to craft something out, especially for us.
That's a brilliant idea. That's a brilliant idea.
We can even write in separately with them, to them, you know. They responded so well when I wrote in anyway. So we delay all that So you saw my annual plan. I'm going to delay all that by a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then this 6 months, no, this year, right? 6 months plus 6 months. It was just so the summer school we're also going to for sure delay by a year. I'm not going to
It'll
tell
be
people we're
delayed
going to
by
go
a
to
year.
22 term.
It
So I'm going to go
22.
back. I'm going to go back to Cambridge and say Fitzgerald College and say, okay, it's going to be 2023 at least. But the plan
Yes.
for the whole program, the Lighthouse, is 3 summer schools, or maybe just 2 up to 2025, and X number of lighthouses in accordance to the 4 cohorts that we have. That's it. We're not going to go
Yes.
more than 4 cohorts. Okay,
That's it.
that's it. That's it. That's what we're going to do in the next.
I agree. Absolutely. That is far more, because otherwise we're taking on stress.
Yes.
And stress is not helping each other's immunity.
No.
So might as well just focus on what's realistic right now.
Yeah.
And what is practical, utmost practical right now.
Yes.
And go with dropping the stress and aiming for next year's. And aiming for specifically for Lighthouse and summer school through Templeton.
Yeah. That's it.
See, that's the choice that we have, right?
Yeah. If Templeton doesn't grant us, we either earn it, we don't earn it, we don't go.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell the kids this way. We can't keep feeding them and doing it for them, and they're just going in for the ride. We've created and raised many entitled adults, entitled children. So this was my shift.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I was taking a long walk on huh?
It works because I think trying to do the impossible is just will create unnecessary stress, and I don't think we enjoy that. I don't enjoy stress.
Neither do I anymore. You saw me. You and I have been going at this.
I'm happy running in the rain. For me, that is my way of accepting a great sense of gratitude and acceptance that I can run in the rain. So for me,
it's really this in you know, and COVID has gone into 6,000-7,000 cases a day in Malaysia too. It's red alert already. I have to keep an eye on that. Singapore is it's still silent. Nobody. It's still worrying. Sometimes 18,000, and it's a city state. It's all or nothing one. No, in the city state, it's you can't get it out. Let our guards down on that.
I paid up 14,000 on just paid up last night. Paid up $14,000 for my storage. Had I known, had I known, I would have just shipped it down all over here. But now I'm stuck. But if I'm stuck, I'm not going to add to my stress, So imagine it's costed me almost 20 grand to store but then I'm looking at it, 20 grand is okay, 2 months rent, But the thing is, these are decisions one could never make because things are changing and evolving. So we can't be taking stress and taking the responsibility of making wonder happen through sheer our own grit and our own positive.
That kind of way is gone already. Also,
it's draining. It's draining.
No, you cannot get through COVID like that. No. Cannot already.
It's very draining, and we don't want to take on more problems than what we are already facing.
Yeah, you're right, because we can't control it. And we don't have the resources. So while we have a lot of grit and tenacity, it's not going to be enough.
And I know how I had to put funds together to make that one-time payment, and then they have the cheek to tell me that they've increased their. I gave the blast to them. I said, no, I can't be looking at you. Have to be. You have to be fair during pandemic. That's what I told them.
Yeah.
Like learn to be fair at least during pandemic. That when we've started it, even I didn't know that I'm gonna keep the stuff in storage for so long.
Yeah.
So hindsight, we always have, okay, whatever you have, give it away or liquidate it and be done with it, because we can't be carrying baggages thinking, well, I like that my Ming chair. Oh, I got my teak table from there. Oh, what is it doing? It's cost 4 times the amount now, So that's another way of looking at.
So I'm going to reorganize my own home studio, my home office. My home
Yeah.
office is going to be totally my work office, because
Yeah.
I can't be separated from my confidential client files and all that. Okay.
Yeah.
Then Ellen and Tasha will mirror it. Okay. They will have their own home offices, and and we will travel to meet clients anyway, or travel whatever, you know. The journey under Bilberries Blue is still very nourishing, and they will have their own personal atelier program anyway.
Yes.
Part of it, which is to continue their education, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
We need to write a program for Tasha and Ellen, okay?
Yes.
And continue their education, the higher education.
So
and
nothing
deepening
stops.
on
The
it.
learning doesn't stop. The learning,
Yeah,
the thriving,
and then
nourishing.
the work experience, you know, is how I was working with Keith anyway. And he's still very keen. He was very keen, you know, when we were doing all our Zooming, he was sitting. So those kind of work experiences is quite easy to create. And then the youth stewardship is very good. I think it's quite lightweight, because we are just going to do 4 cohorts in the 5 years. So we can do 2 every year or what. It doesn't, and they're very independent anyway. The youth stewards. The internship, we have to either continue, or we're going to call a halt to it, I think. If there's no...
I think just let's, anything which is creating stress and additional pressure, for the moment, let's stall that, because it's taking away too much of time and energy.
I close up all those emails of the stewards who have not checked their email or have not participated. I've closed it yesterday, okay? So I just have 2 groups left, which is us who's working on the youth stewardship and the internship. We're going to have to ask the interns point blank, you know, what's the level of participation? If not, I'm going to pause the whole thing as well.
They also would have their own
they have too much on their plate, because with the HBL and all that. But
so
of course, I think if they stay on the channel and all that, it's good, because there's a continuity. But they probably don't need the emails anymore. So I'm cutting down all the costs of all the unnecessaries. But they actually still have homework to deliver for us, but they can deliver it through their own private email. So I'm going to explain to them. Now, this is very real, right? This is a real response, right? If the organization is needing to do this, then we will just do it, and then we finish it. But I feel that we still need to finish our documentation about the internship, the micro submit accounting. I haven't finished that, and each of the interns actually will assign work, and they haven't finished. So maybe what we'll do is we take them off the Bilberries Blue email, and then we just go with each of them again. We engage each of them and say, let's finish it by end of this year. Okay, then we don't offer any more internships.
I think so, because Beck, even for you to keep that energy going at this high demand, it's going to lead to a lot of time consuming.
I don't have energy, because I have to focus on the businesses now. The businesses have to transform at a unbelievable level. And
can you send the resources to Malaysia, to your someplace there, to a artist house? That is much better than giving it away, because those resources are important, and artist house has the storage, which doesn't cost. So think about it.
I could send everything back. I don't know whether it will inundate her, but it'll be very nice sitting. We actually have another space, you know, in the office building, and the furniture and all that will sit very well with it. Everything will sit very well with it.
Which office building in Malaysia? In
my mom and dad's office building. Next to Artist House. Remember Artist House?
Yeah.
Next to it. Artist House is full. Artist House was already equipped with all the barang-barang already, you know. So this one could go to the downstairs space. Remember there's a downstairs space that we had shuttered up?
Yeah.
You know, all this furniture and all that can...
like now I realize it was better than using that storage money in just sending it off to people who would kind of use it. But then this kind of resources, it's so hard to compile. So maybe you should put it into, and whenever the lighthouse there starts,
it's really difficult to compile. This is, I look at it, it's a whole treasury, you know.
No. You can't get rid of the treasure, but it is much better incurring the cost of parking it there than where you have to, you know, get rid of it or pay to park it.
But we are instilling a discipline of paying rental too, you know, for occupying any of the space in the building, because I have to restructure the businesses. So even if it's there, I would still have to pay rental.
Yes, that would be nothing compared to paying rentals in Singapore.
Yeah. What's the point paying rental here? But if it's here, I can activate.
So whenever you think you're ready for it, and we are ready for it, and then you could just bring it back.
No, I would never bring it back again, really. That's the reality. Everything that I sent there, I never brought anything back. And it's very hard to activate the work over there, because I don't think I can even return for 2 years. So if I want to continue the full inclusion work, it's in Singapore. Somebody has to give us a space.
So see, then that can become a very focused finding out. So this is what you need to find out, because based on that lies the choice of decisions that you will make.
Yeah. So I'm going to give up the idea of many
lighthouses.
Very sure
This.
I did speak to different people, and then it depends on who comes up first. But I cannot run a lighthouse program. So even if I do a space, if I do any work with, say, TP, it's got to be a simple work. That means I go in and teach about tube or something, you know, and teach about entrepreneurism and do the work. It's not about the you know what I mean, the curatorial work.
It can't be a self-discovery place for everyone. Because that
not yet. Yeah, you're right, because that needs the hosting. The hosting energy is very tiring, because it's very emotional, because ultimately this work is about healing. Yes, it's healing woundedness, you know, and people getting so angry, and then nothing positive comes out of it until all the negatives come out first. I cannot catch the negative.
So do we have the energy to take the negative now?
Oh, this is a difference, because while we had BB Studio, you used to be here, you know, Hima would come in and out, you know, and Bernie was also able to come in and out at every point in different. That's why we could carry the BB journey, right?
It's impossible to do it on your own. I wouldn't have the energy to have a lighthouse. No.
Now I'm doing on my own. So last week, that's what I realized. I was sitting down there packing on my own, because even Melba got taken away from me, right? So that was a lesson for me, you know. It's like, are you sure you can do this? You know, in your mind, you can. In your grit and your tenacity, you can. But how much is it going to achieve? Nothing, you know, because then after that the lockdown came, right?
Yeah.
Because
and that
I was still thinking, you know,
without the funding, it'll be absolutely draining.
Yeah, and you know the temperature was very funny. The first time I read it, I saw it as 2021, 1st July 2021. So that's why I was pushing for it. Then I reread it again. No, it's 1st July 2022.
And then what happens? We raise expectations. We create that flare. We create that and then it goes like, you know. So we can't even be doing that. We can't be.
No, it's not real. Yeah, that's not real. We have to get people to be very, very real in COVID.
Yeah.
The best gift we can give to the youth and the children and others.
The last thing we want to do is to give away disappointment to anyone, you know.
Yeah. I mean, we were kind of hopeful that Singapore was out of it, right? That's why we I was kind of like, okay, I think it's
so now that has changed, that can become a good reason and a genuine reason to slow things down. And
no,
then
it's
keep
very
it
serious here because they're still swabbing, the malls, the HDB estates, the Changi Airport is completely redone. It's they created risk-based zones and all that, and they're still trying to catch it, and the variants are still happening. So until the vaccinations are all rolled out.
This is very authentic, this is not because we've lost out on our energy, but this is what we have to do because it is a very unusual year of pandemic.
It's better than last year. Granted, it's better than last year. I think last year's uncertainty was worse, but no, it's not really. It's just different, but it's equally bad. It's really bad. It's hitting very, very big numbers, and and it's not coming down. There's no light at the end of the tunnel yet. We can see, we know, we can intellectualize it, but the mass physical response, it's not indicating that it's coming near yet. So I think another year for everybody to really sink in, this is real, and we got to discipline ourselves, right? So another year.
And also I feel for you to get back to job just because you can pay for the rental, that is not being very practical either,
That's like
it's
chasing, that's just creating stress, right?
No. It is unnecessarily putting yourself into I wouldn't do it, so I don't know whether you want to do that or not.
No. So I will commit to the youth stewardship program. I think that's very valuable. The growth, and it doesn't take.
These are youth stewardship programs that are good conversations and a international sharing session for everyone. They make good friends. They and keep us abreast of any projects.
And I wouldn't push them like I did earlier on. I think I saw that it was creating stress, gin and all that. And also the Temasek JC kids. I think they're a bit young for this kind of pace. And it's COVID as well. I think it's COVID because the HBL is very stressful. And the kids being in school are also under stress right now. So
we can't add to people's stress, Pek, to deliver something. If they deliver their own life in everyday daily living in situation, that's more than a reward.
We don't need to create all these awards and all this.
No.
Yeah, this is
no more carrots about doing this, that, because things are so unsure. Even if I look at Cambridge, they themselves have a survival issue. With
everybody is on survival. So we can't. We would just survive. And I think what really changed and shifted for me was I realized it's not the extrinsic.
No,
it's not even character development. I mean, I will still map it that way. It's not the extrinsic at all. It's our own conscience. I don't know how. I'm not even convinced anybody can be taught that. I think only life can teach you that. Because you can't. Well, we can, and for us, we can only live it. And we are living it like this.
Teachable. See, the living can be caught. It can't be taught. So that also we have to understand. Like
why would anyone change until life smacks them in their face to wake them up? If they're having a cruise, being entitled and being SLB, you think I'm going to change? I'm not going to change. It's too cushy. It's too nice. Why would I want to change if you can get away with lording over others and all that until life smacks you in the face? You go down on your knees and you realize.
And life is the best teacher.
Yeah, so why are we even kidding ourselves? How are we going to even formulate, right? You tell me I can't do it in my conscience, formulating saying, oh, I think there is a universal ideal of a human person. I can't do that. I can't do that. I don't want to do that. I can only say I know what I'm about. I know what my friendship with V is about. I know what my friendship with Tasha is about. It's so damn real. You know, we love each other. We know what love is. I'm not going to tell people what love means and feels like things like Tasha, right? Are you going to be able to describe love?
It's impossible. No.
Yeah.
No.
Why would you want to do that?
Can't.
Right now, write an essay about what love is.
Can't.
Huh?
Can't.
You just know it, right? And it's
Yeah.
real or not real. And
I
science
just can't.
basically say there's no true love. It's either love or no love. Why even hide that? You know?
Yeah.
And how are we to tell people what friendship is, what you cannot lah? How to even, Then we'll be like those guys who have 5 bullet points, charts about, okay, first you make friendship like this, shake hands.
And then
no.
for every value, they'll have an activity.
No, I cannot do that. And then after you got this mission and purpose, and no. That's why I say I'll just put a just come to my home, just sit with me in a park, a bench, whatever. Friendship begins right there already, you know.
And otherwise they'll have like, okay, put all your negative emotions on a balloon and burst it.
No, I cannot
That's
do
how
that.
they kind of get rid of.
No, and then after that they start counseling you. No, you cannot think like that. Or not. No, we cannot get into all that. Yeah. So we're very, very clear. So I think the clarity has been very good. So we've thought through it intellectually, we thought through it, you know, everything. So decision.
And the pandemic is a very authentic reality that we need to face up. And if we have to move things up till we get the grants in hand, let these ideas get refined. We can still chat about them, talk about them. Our conversations don't have to stop. We can still meet up. We can still, our thinking doesn't have to be stopped. We can keep sharing our individual contexts and challenges. And that's what we do with friends.
I'm going to redo the house. I've asked Beth, you know, just whatever book she does, and then she said, we're ready, you know, we'll give it to people who need it, who can access it, you know. If they're in the lockdown, they can read the books or whatever. Physical books are such a pleasure, you know, but I don't know if we can run the library. I don't think so, you know.
No,
we cannot run anything operational. So okay, first decision point, nothing operational.
Because operational has to be done at a certain standard and a certain way and a certain
very hard standards, and you get one infection, you close down everything. It's I don't know why we want to take that on. So no operational. Okay, so we will do everything online, just online only. And
online we keep the tribe, we keep the people, we keep the friends. We are not letting them we are not pulling our hands off.
In person,
but we are
in person will be Natasha and Ellen. That I will commit to that. You know. But no more. I think cannot handle. So online
Wonderful.
we have the use.
I'm so glad in this lighthouse your light has been lit about what is real right now, and no more stress. Absolutely.
Okay, so the goal is no stress. No stress, zero stress. That's how we survive. Zero stress. Keep everything light. Lighthouse. What a twist of events. We were going in the lighting. It's a lighthouse.
Perfect. So oh my God, what a brilliant Peck. It's a lighthouse. It can't create these heavy scenarios. You like that, Natasha? Yes, it's a lighthouse.
And I do think that it's a good idea to push out the BB Lighthouse to next year. Otherwise, it really is too much.
Yes.
It's a great idea.
Great idea. Super.
Yeah, great idea.
Yeah, you see,
Yeah.
Tasha listens in. You see, Tasha, that's why we
Yes.
miss you, you know. You're so wise. Your affirmation means everything for us, you know.
Yes. We
Yeah.
love it. We love it.
Love it. And because you have such clarity, Tasha. That's why I say this is your strength. You look, you listen. You're like almost like Bernie. Jing.
Yeah. Tasha's like,
Yeah. 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 So okay, lighthouse. Light.
oh,
Mhm.
lighthouse has got a definition. It's light. Not heavy, bogged down, howla, Twyla, how can?
Carrying everybody. Carrying everybody, shining for everybody. No, you're gonna do your own shining. It's enough. My goodness.
Oh, I'm suddenly feeling so good, you know.
What happened? What is the shape of us? No.
Wow, my shape of us is expanding. It's
Lightness. Lightness.
lightness. I can see myself. Just have a look. I can see myself out of this window into the city.
Yeah. Freedom and joy.
Yeah. Okay,
Openness,
super.
openness, spaciousness, freedom and joy. Finish.
That's it.
So my real problem is the resources. That's all. Make a
Yeah.
decision about that and be done
I'm
with
sure
it.
something right will pop up.
I don't want to operate any space. I'm going to give it all away.
Yeah.
You know,
No, don't give it away, your resources. Your books are too precious. Sorry. If I could,
you can see I want to like unload it all. I know they're too precious. Oh, all
the books are
equipment.
too precious. The books are too precious, and you've kept them so well. They are an absolute treat to hold them. So don't give away the books, please. That would be disaster, because never again are we going to compile such a immensely
It was
beautiful
beautiful,
collection.
you know, when I put it together. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Somebody just has to have a belief to offer a space. My goodness, for people to just sit in that space to look at the resources.
How many boxes of books do you have? How many boxes?
There's so many. I don't know. It's like crazy many.
How many?
I think I asked for 50 big boxes. I have probably will finish compiling up 45. They're not all books. Yeah, because got kitchen stuff as well. And even the gardening stuff was very good because it was all thought through, right? The gloves, you know, and then all the nursery stuff, the recycling. Every single thing was thought through. There was a design. There was a design behind the entire BB studio. It is perfect. It's integrated. It's perfect.
So all the sofa and the table, everything you packed?
I haven't packed yet, so they were supposed to come. We were supposed to move on May 22nd, but now everything got delayed. So if you go to a new space, then I have to operate it, then I have to find programs to justify it, and you know, not that I don't want to do it, but I don't think it's real. I you know, then I was thinking about Tasha and Ellen's well-being as well, and then it's not real because the cross infection can be very high. We don't want to be the source of cross infection, you know.
Yeah.
Across communities, you know. And then after I spoke to all the potential space partners, they were looking at us not at activities. They were looking at our energy and this. And this doesn't need material things.
Yeah.
But to show what it is, we have documented BB Studio. I don't think we need to create a mock space for it anymore. You know, we have already shifted into bringing people just back to their core, and saying that right from stage one. I don't need to be subtle to it. We say our job is to shine for you about your awareness as a human, as a core. Then they ask you what is a core, then you just have some conversations, right? Then that's it. You know, I mean. But the lighthouse shine is very easy. Here's a cup. Okay, done. I'm going to have some cake now. You know? I mean, they are just going to see. I mean, who are we to go and influence people anyway? You know, the work that we have, the framework that we have is so robust. We can run. We can basically do anything at the right time. You know, I'll spend more time actually embedding the UNDP SDG to an assurance level in enterprise. But maybe not even that. Like you said, we will build it as we go along.
I think we just, if we can hold on to the stuff, and when Singapore opens up its travels, I will definitely have to get a house.
Okay.
So we see how long, because now, of course, I can't commit anything.
Yeah.
But we can operate from a bigger space. So, but then again, we have to see how my life turns out. Yeah. I can't.
Did research storage. There are storage places where if you put them all in boxes.
I think I need to take my shower now.
Okay, you better go. Oh dear, today has been very long. All right. See you later,
bye,
Tasha.
Bye, Tasha. Love you.
Love you. Yeah. So it's
So switch off the